Critterbug's Hairy Tail by Mrs. M. Critterbug was not a monster. He was not dangerous. He was not even very big. In fact, Critterbug was tiny, smaller than a sesame seed, and he lived in what he thought was the coziest home in the world, a kid's head. Warm? Check. Hair to hold on to? Check. Plenty of places to crawl? Double check, Critterbug said, wiggling his 6 little legs. Critterbug was a head louse. He and his family only had one job in life: finding hair, staying on heads, and crawling carefully. Critterbug liked to say, "We're not bad bugs, just bugs being bugs." They could not jump. They could not fly. They were terrible at sports. "If there were Lice Olympics," he said, "I would only win the crawling race." He tried once to do a flip. He fell right off the hair. "Nope," he said, "crawling is my superpower." How Critterbug travels. One day at school, 2 kids leaned close together to look at the same book. Their heads gently bumped. Critterbug gasped, "New hair highway!" And just like that, crawl, 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 he moved to a new head. He didn't come because the child was dirty. He didn't come because of messy hair. He came because heads were close together. That's how lice travel, head to head, like tiny hikers crossing a bridge. The itch begins. After a few days, the child started scratching. "Why is my head so itchy?" the child wondered. Critterbug's family had grown. Tiny eggs called nits were glued to the hair near the scalp, behind the ears, and near the neckline. They looked like little white or yellow dots, but they did not brush off like dandruff. "Uh-oh," said Mom, "I think we need to check your hair." The child felt worried. "Does this mean I'm dirty?" Mom shook her head. "Nope. Lice like clean hair and dirty hair. They don't care. They just want a head." Lots of kids, especially ages 3 to 12, get lice at some point. It happens because kids play close together. It is nobody's fault. Not the children, not the families, not the schools. Just tiny bugs being tiny bugs. Operation Goodbye Critterbug. Mom got special lice shampoo. Critterbug gulped. "That smells serious." Wash, rinse, careful combing with a special comb. "Retreat!" yelled Critterbug as the comb came through like a rake in a garden. A week later, they did a second treatment to make sure any newly hatched lice were gone. Clothes, towels, and bedding used in the last 2 days were washed in hot water, but nobody sprayed the house or bagged every toy because lice cannot live long away from a human head. Back to school. The next day, the child went back to school. Kids with lice do not need to stay home once treatment has started. Still, the child felt shy. "What if someone says I'm dirty?" The teacher had a class talk. "Lice spread when heads touch," she explained, "not from being dirty. Anyone can get them." The class learned facts instead of rumors, and the teasing stopped. Critterbug's lesson. Somewhere in his tiny world, Critterbug sighed. "We're not bad, just in the wrong place." And the child learned something important. Sometimes things happen to our bodies that are not our fault, not a sign of being dirty, and not something to be ashamed of, just something to treat, learn about, and move on from. The end of The Itch.